So I'm delighted to welcome you to another edition of the Business of AI podcast. And today we've got Shashi Jagtap from Super Agentic AI. So Shashi, welcome to the Business of AI podcast.
Thank you so much, Tim. I'm pleased to be here and very glad to be part of UKI community.
Yeah, well, it's great to
Yeah.
have you on board, and I'm really looking forward to finding out more about Super Agentic and what you're doing. But I think it'd be really interesting to hear about your background as well and how you got into this space and what you've been doing for the last few years to really understand this cutting edge technology. So could you give us a bit of your background and Super Agentic's story?
Yeah, definitely. So I've been working in London since last 10, 15 years, and I'm more into building tech communities in London and running some meetup groups since 2012. So I'm well aware of the London tech ecosystem. I work for many big companies like BBC. Also, I joined Apple from 2019 up until 2025. And so my whole career was like in a tech, building tech communities, building some cool stuff. I joined Apple, and then because of some restrictions, I couldn't do some community events. But my role at Apple was amazing. I enjoyed working there. I worked at Apple about nearly 6 years, and all good. Like the life at Apple, all good. Why should we leave Apple? Basically, this is a great company, amazing cushy jobs, and but I decided to take the leap, and follow my passion because the agentic AI, this is the things coming up. And since the agentic AI comes in, so I started thinking about the industry shaking, definitely shaking. And the things we currently doing right now is going to change drastically in maybe like a year or so, or maybe in a few years' time. So I need to get into this space somehow. So I was thinking about that and then trying to make that leap. But something was holding me back actually, like, okay, should I do this? Should I go into that risk? So go into this unknown space. But I thought no, this is the time. This is a once in a generation opportunity, whether you can lead this technology, show your potential, and maybe something contribute to the growing space of this technology. So
Yeah.
I left Apple in April 2025 and then started Super Agentic AI. So it is self-explanatory. Basically, what company does is basically Super Agentic is basically everything about agentic AI. So
Well, could I just
when
get
this
a bit of context there as well, because some people in the audience might not know
Mhm.
what agentic is. So could you maybe sort of help them understand what agentic means, and how did you discover that agentic? Is it something that you were using at Apple? Is it something that you had to learn yourself? And where does Super Agentic as a company fit into this?
Yeah, so I cannot say anything explicitly like what I was doing at Apple because of Apple's privacy, but like the thing itself was in the market, right? And then I was in touch of this technology and all these things. But that's a good question that like I have to explain what is agentic AI. So basically, the people who don't know agentic AI is agentic AI is an AI technology um, that is taking the leap forward from all the traditional technological boom or technological revolution we have so far. Like we have web, we have mobile, we have cloud. So basically, that all this technological revolution has you have new technology. You need to transfer your one skill to another skill to make it better. So it was transferring the skills, but this technology is actually automating your brain. So basically, all the things we do at our job is basically do some research and apply that to your job and the knowledge. We have more knowledge. Now the knowledge with agentic AI, knowledge is everywhere now. The large language models have knowledge of huge knowledge base. So knowledge is not an issue now. So this technology is impacting the roles. So basically, now it can automate the task. Potentially, it has potential to automate the roles. So this might come to any sector, any person, and um, people might be scared about should I have should I have a job in few years time if I don't get to that technology? So this is like a real technological shift, which is automating human brain and like trying to see like basically what things can human versus machine can be done.
So I think the really interesting thing about agentic is that it takes the technology that we've had, the underlying technologies of LLM and all of those things that have been built, and it takes it to the next level. So with an LLM, most people will be familiar with something like ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, where the user asks a question. You know, can you answer this question, and you'll get a response, and it's very much that transaction. With agentic, it's actually you're programming not a response and a transaction. You're actually giving effectively a machine the ability to make decisions and to take agency. And so what you're asking it isn't just a question. You're asking it to go and actually perform a series of actions.
Exactly.
You as a user don't actually know what the results are going to be, but it's almost like you say, go and book me a flight to Dublin, and then the agent can go and figure out how to do that with its own. I was going to say consciousness, but it's not consciousness. It's a set of very sophisticated models and rules that it's created that allows it to do that. So how are you using this type of agency, this agentic model within Super Agentic? What does Super Agentic do with agents?
Definitely. So Super Agentic AI, I frame this company as a full stack agentic AI company, meaning everything agentic AI, we do everything agentic AI. So the company has two parts, basically. One has a product side and one has a solution side. So product side of the company is very technical. So going into building agentic system, performing some research on like agent optimization and like actually allowing people or developers to give a framework to build agents. So this is very technical side of it. And then solution side of it is basically allowing business to see how they can adopt agentic AI into their businesses. So it has solutions from from all levels of the businesses. Probably some businesses already started it. Some they just exploring what we can do with agentic AI. Some have already implemented some stuff, but they need some more optimization on agentic AI. So the solution side covers the business, and the product side cover like much more technical detail about the agentic AI, actually building the agents and giving them a platform to build the agent or optimizing their agent. So I'm performing some research on like how the latest cutting edge technology can be applied to my product or Super Agentic's product.
That's really interesting. So you've got two parts of the business. One is more the technical part. So if a client comes to you and they already have systems in place that are maybe using different parts of the AI stack, you can help them refine, optimize. You can help them select the best vendor. But on the other side, if the customer's coming to you and they haven't really started to build out that stack and they don't really know, but they know they've heard agentic is really important and they want to understand more, you can also take them on that more consultative journey to really understand their specific needs and then build them that tech stack as well.
Definitely. It is like acting as a strategic partner with the businesses rather than, because this part of the business of agentic AI, I think is changing, because at the moment everybody's overwhelmed, because including if you see the businesses, the decision maker in the businesses, as well as like investors, as well as the founders, everybody is overwhelmed because this agentic AI is changing like everything. So all the business models that we currently have in the market, like software as services. So basically, you have subscriptions, and like you can pay on monthly basis. But in agentic AI, like a whole business model is like shaking, because now, how do you sell agent to someone? How do you sell how do you charge agent? Like, are you charging on per monthly basis, like a subscription based model, or so you charge like how many tasks it performs? So this model is industry still has to figure out like what's the pricing model for the agentic AI. So everybody's trying to figure it out right now. So we don't have any answer for that. So in terms of the business model, industry is evolving with it. So I think what it's going towards the area of like, you need to have build specific solution tailored to your customer's need. So you need to design a system you can't design like a centralized system which will work for like multiple customers or multiple businesses, because every business now has their own separate use cases, requirements. So you have to design the tailored solution for that specific business. And that's where the agentic AI is like it's a bit different than whatever the business models that we have worked for many years or decades. That is changing right now.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you could have made that point, because I think it's really important to always start with the problem, framing,
Yes.
understanding the problem, and then look at what the solution is. And I speak to many businesses where they've actually started with the solution, that someone from the top has said, well-meaningly, we need to get AI into the organization,
Yep.
or we need to
Yep.
get agentic into the organization, and not really thought about what problem they're trying to solve. So I wonder whether actually what would be really useful, and we love on the podcast here, is getting some case studies. So do you have a couple of case studies that you can share with us of where you've seen agentic being able to really sort of help solve specific problems for businesses you worked with?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm working with currently a couple of clients. I wouldn't name them right now, but like the most important use case and most the popular use case of this agentic AI is the coding agent. So basically, the software engineer writing the code, and that is like becoming more like the go-to use cases for any businesses to adopt, because the agentic AI is, or the language models are very effective to generate the response where you can measure the things. And the coding or software development is one of the area where you can measure whether it works or not. And like you have some metrics, and like it has clear metric. Like if you write a code, you can definitely measure like if the code works or not. And this is the use cases like most of the people trying to um, get into their businesses, because they know that like the most coding models are way better than like a software developer to generate the code. Now the code generation part become easier. Now you only need to make sure that like the code generated by the AI is working properly or not. And that's the job of now developers, is now like, okay, code is here, and just to make sure that it's working or not. And now this space is become popular because you have clear metrics. You can measure whether code works or not. And some other cases like you cannot measure. Say for example, someone is doing some like the legal stuff or like some research. You cannot measure that properly, like, okay, is the AI agent done proper job or not? You can just it takes a lot of effort to do that. So I think the most popular use case for agentic AI right now is the software development and coding. That's what I'm seeing right now.
Interesting. Yeah. And I think the unique thing about the software space is that it's very quantifiable. There's a lot of
Yes.
data. It's extremely logical. It's
Yes.
measurable, as you said. So all of those things make it very easy. I think the other dimension is that a lot of the tools that exist already are sort of built around workflows, whether it's constant integration, constant development.
Yes.
They're also built for those kind of workflows. And so adding in agentic into that should be relatively
Yes.
straightforward.
Yeah. Yeah.
I suppose the interesting thing is when you start to be able to bring agentic into other types of businesses as well, so beyond that. And I suppose the other part of this is also just being able to cross-pollinate, cross-fertilize ideas. So what's working in this sector, or what's working with this company? Now, I know you set up the London Agentic AI meetup. Is
Yes.
part of that you're bringing people together to be able to share and learn and swap stories and case studies, so that they are able to deal with that feeling of being overwhelmed by this incredibly fast-paced technology?
Yep, definitely. So yeah, glad that you bring up this point about London Agentic AI. So I started this group like back in May or something. A couple of months it was quiet. It was just just a quiet because I was not promoting it. But since I like Agentic AI comes in, the group has grown exponentially. Now like almost 100 members joining every day now, and now group has gone beyond 1,000 members. So the plan for this group is basically, my plan is to get the real builders, like people actually building the agents, get together, um, not in a specific company, visit different companies and like bring their case studies, bring their use cases, and like what they're actually doing with the agent, how they're building it, like, you know, and everybody's learning. So people can share their experiences. Okay, we tried this, but didn't work. We tried that, that works. And like, you know, that can gain some insight. So we had 2 events now. So the people coming up with like their ideas, their questions, and people sharing new technologies coming in and new tools they're showing. So I want to keep this group as like a real builder group so that like people can learn, because I think this is the era of builders. So everybody's builder right now, because, you know, is this if you heard about the vibe coding stuff, like we can just say something in a natural language and like the app is built for you, you know. So now the technology enable everybody to build something in software space. So you can do that, like even kids can do that.
Yeah.
That part is enabled. Now the real question is like, where is the value? Where is the moat? And like what we should build, and like how to make it responsible, scalable, safe. And this is the area now everybody's trying to figure out. And those insight, I think I'm gaining from these meetups. And I think this is totally community driven. People comes in, share their insight, give the talk on the latest technology, share their experiences, and learn from each other. And I want to grow this meetup in the same space, like, you know, just to share the ideas, like what people are doing, what the people are actually implementing agents, what they're doing with the AI, what's their plan, and things like that, basically. And yeah, I'm hoping this group will have a huge potential and grow exponentially in future as well.
Great. Well, keen to be involved and support what you're doing there. It sounds like a great sort of grassroots movement there to really sort of bring all that knowledge together. But one of the things that you sort of touched upon there was the fact that there are lots of people out there building agentic solutions, setting up agentic companies. The other way you could look at this, and this is something which I think we need to address as an industry, is that people outside of the software development community see this as being a lot of snake oil salesmen, to use that word. Right. And they don't know who to trust. They don't know whether this company has popped up here and they said, hey, we're a new agentic company. Actually, how do they know they can trust them? What would you say? How would you answer that question if someone said that to you?
Yeah. So this is a really good question. And as I said earlier, like everybody is overwhelmed. So there are 2 things right now. So if you're someone in the company with a higher position, we are decision maker, like trying to see like what to do with agentic AI or AI in general. So you have 2 options basically. You have build or buy. So building is the things where you can look for the solution, where you can use your internal resources or people to build a solution for you. And there's another option is buy. So if you look at the buy part of it, so there are so many solutions right now. There's so many companies providing different solutions, and like, no, the decision maker is overwhelmed because what should we do? Which solution to buy? Or like, should we buy or build? And in this case of agentic AI technology, there are like hundreds and thousands of solutions available in the market. They can't make a decision right now, because if they make a decision, everything is changing so drastically that you buy something and in 6 months later it's obsolete. Like, you know, so basically, you know, they are in a situation right now. So build versus buy, and problem with the building is like, they probably don't have like the skills in house so that they can build something. They need a training, you know. So so there's an investment in training versus investment in buying. So now if I was in this position and like I was making decisions, so, you know, I would be overwhelmed as well. Everybody will be overwhelmed what to do. But the main thing in this case is basically we are definitely not going back. We are not going back into the previous era of this thing. So somehow get into the space, try some pilot projects, like get something going, train your internal teams, get something from the market, see how it works. It may not work in the first iteration, but keep trying the technology that comes in so that you are in the flow. If you don't try, then your competitor will try and they will go ahead exponentially. So, you know, you have to get into that space as soon as possible. I think I heard last podcast about like why it's urgent to get into the agentic AI right now, because if you delay, then that will have a huge impact on your business sooner or later. So you keep track of your current technology, get adopting with these things, not only like a business critical things, but like at least have some pilots running in your company so that like you are aware what's going on in the world, what's happening in this space. So that is, I think, for business business should do in this particular time.
And do you have any advice for companies who are thinking about trying to buy, and they're looking at lots of different vendors? Because we've already talked about the scale of growth in the agentic space, and I'd imagine if I was at a big company, well, when I've been buying solutions in the past, when I have been at a big company, then there's always lots of vendors. And it's always hard. It's always been hard, but now you add in agentic. One, it's such a fast-growing technology that it's hard to actually understand what it is you need the tool to do, but also the volume of solutions is just mushrooming. So there's hundreds of them. So what advice do you have for those kind of people in big companies who are looking at trying to buy a solution? Where should they start? What criteria should they look for?
Yeah. So if you're an enterprise buyer, so their priority is basically the safety, compliance, and their data, because that's their mode. They don't want to leave that to they don't want to take a risk on that one. So if you're enterprise buyer, definitely sort out these things like the solutions you are buying, how confident you are in terms of their safety. Are you feeling safe about buying and using this in your computer in your company? Also, is it compliant? Is it compliant to the local laws and all these things? You have to consider that as well. And most importantly, your data security. Because if you are buying something and that means like if you're handing over your company's data to that particular vendor, how safe is your data? So that is, I think, 3 critical things every business should consider, like, how safe it is. Should you send your data to all the cloud providers that you having this available in market? They might be good, they might be better, but do you want to do that? You want to keep your data private? So I think 3 things basically. So privacy, and security and compliance. And this thing a business always have to prioritize. If you're medium scale or startup, you're free to go. Basically, you just see like what works best for you. Like, say you are free to try these things. But I think what I'm seeing in many companies as well, like they have like some innovation team. So some innovation team is basically trying to have there's some pilot projects going on, trying to evaluate like all the latest technologies and coming in, trying to evaluate. And so they can evaluate itself in the company's own department, and then what comes out of that makes easier for them to make a decision which vendor to buy. So they have to evaluate multiple like selected vendors, and then like, okay, this works well, let's go for it. So you have to go for like evaluating yourself versus like making decision based on what they provide.
I think that's really good advice. So the 3 things you said there were data security, privacy, and compliance. And I think that's a good checklist. If you're looking for vendors, make sure they have those. They've actually sort of thought about those specific areas. And that's really good advice. So looking at the UK now, we're UK AI. We're constantly thinking the UK's special skills and what's unique about the industry here in the UK. I know you've worked in California, you've got experience working with Apple, based out of California. So how would you compare the UK to California, Silicon Valley? And what do you think is unique about the UK that we should be focusing on?
Definitely. That's a good question, because I think London has always been technological hub so far. So basically, all the technology, like in terms of like the cloud, mobile, everything. We adopted this technology crazily, and but what I feel in the AI is basically when AI comes in, I think we as a London or UK is a bit behind than whatever we see in the US or especially in the Bay Area, because of the investment. There's a huge investment going on there compared to the UK or Europe. That driving like most startups and most innovative things happening right now inside the Bay Area, or most of the things across the globe, like China or Bay Area, they are leading at the moment. So I think for UK, I attended London Tech Week, and the Prime Minister gave a talk there about like the investment and future plan. They seem so solid. Like the government is bringing the investment back in the UK. Also, some major companies putting some data centers in the UK right now. So they're investing in the UK. That obviously creates some jobs. Industry will have like more access to the AI and all this thing. But one point I think we should, UK as a UK, we should consider is like a sovereign AI. Basically, what UK is doing by themselves to like to be part of this this moment. Like for example, the countries like France. So France has like own they have Mistral. They build their own like an in-house model they can serve. UK is I think you need to consider something like building something in-house so that world can use, or rather than adopting all this technology or all this thing, that will definitely help. But like some startups, something we have to do ourselves inside in our country so that like we can serve, we can be a builder, not the users. So that's what I think we should think about. But I think the things are going so well because of the like the plan, the investment, and the deals we have with US. So the AI is going to come to UK and it's going to boom in a few months or years. Definitely, that's not. I can't see any issues there.
Yeah, great. Well, with lots of hard work to get us there, but I agree. I think there's a real opportunity for the UK to lead in responsible AI. So actually sort of building upon foundations that we've got in the UK and doing it in our own particular way. But in order to unlock that, maybe we do need to start thinking about how we create some of our own sovereign AI assets. It's a concept which I'm hearing more and more of. In fact, I was at a discussion earlier on this morning where we were talking just about that. Maybe that's another podcast we'll do in the future. But I think just in order wrapping things up now, because we're coming up against time, I wanted to get.
I think one thing I would like to mention is like I'm following the work that Kanishk is doing right now. He's literally doing amazing work right now because I closely followed his visit to San Francisco, and I know visiting the innovations there and trying to bring it back in the UK. I think I would like to see the more such thing coming, like the Waymo is coming into London. I think the more AI stuff might come into the London because I think he's doing great work. I think we need some leaders like him, like to be active, be engaging, so that like we can have like a benefit and like we get something, go there, see what they're doing, how can bring that to our back home. So just a kudos to him, and I would like him to keep this work in near future.
Yeah, well, thanks, Shashi. I think Minister Narayan will appreciate that because there is a certain sense that he's got a lot of energy, expertise, and experience in this particular field. And the government has set out how they see AI as being integral to unlocking economic growth. But you really do need somebody who understands how to make that happen. And so from what I've seen, I've been on a couple of panels with Minister Narayan as well, and he's very impressive. He understands the field, and like you say, he's a good spokesperson for the industry. So he's doing a great job there. But also, Secretary of State Kyle has moved from DSIT now to the Department of Business and Trade. So he's also now got that sort of understanding and expertise that he's brought from DSIT into his new role, which is all about growing the economy. So I think some of these things are sort of lining up. And I should also mention Secretary of State Kendall as well. There's Kendall moving into her role with a real focus on both education and skills and ensuring that the opportunities of the AI industry are shared out across all the regions in the UK. So certainly a lot of players in government there who really understand the industry, and I'm optimistic about what they could achieve, which segues nicely into talking about the future. And I wanted to sort of, as we start to wrap things up, just get a thought from you on what you're most excited about when you think about agentic within the next year. So that's one question, and then secondly, what advice would you have for people listening to this who want to learn more about agentic AI? What's the one thing they should do?
Definitely. So first question, the future. Future is like unpredictable right now. So one thing we should do for this to handle this uncertainty in the near future is keep ourselves updated, upgraded with the latest technology, right? And the things we shouldn't be thinking about ourselves, we should be thinking about our next generation, right? So what's next generation of the jobs or the kids? So I have 11-year-old son now. So what he will be learning in coming future. So we should think about education and what sort of education they need, to deal with this the agentic AI and all sort of the changes that is happening. So and how can we adopt the technology, the agentic AI or AI in general, so that the kids and like the learning about this technology can can get hands on it basically. So how can they use this technology? How can we as a technical people or the government or whoever have control can just influence the people to use this technology, basically give it a try on it. Like basically most of the people don't aware what's coming, so they have no idea what's coming. So make them aware this is the technology coming. So just education. I think the education not only in the schools but also like a proper education in society, community. I think that's very important these days. Like everybody should be aware what's coming and just deal with it, just learn more things, keep ourselves up to date, and yeah, only
Great.
advice is like keep learning. There's no option.
Yeah, no, I think I think that's great advice, Shashi, and that really is all we can do, isn't it? I mean, there's a mindset shift which we've seen over the last decade, which people in technology, I think, have always had this curiosity about
Yeah.
what to doing next. And over the last 10 years, all businesses, if they become digital, whether they like it or not, they've had to adopt that mindset shift, and some have done it better
Yeah.
than others. But at the fundamental, it comes down to being curious again. Now we're bringing AI into the mix, and the only way that you're going to be able to keep up with that is, again, being curious. Keep constant
Yes.
learning, going out there, being proactively trying to discover and test and learn. So I absolutely agree with you. Okay, so we're going to have to wrap things up. But last question to you is, how can we find out more about what you're doing at Super Agentic AI and stay in touch?
Yeah, definitely. So Super Agentic AI company is on X, on LinkedIn. So I'm an active blogger. So I actively write the blog about new technology and what's coming in the latest technical world, as well as the area of agentic AI on Super Agentic AI blog. So this is the Super Agentic AI blog. It's, I think, the best place to see what my company is doing, what I am doing. And now I'm targeting like a different countries, like exhibition. So I'm exhibiting in different countries. So next, in couple of weeks, I'll be in San Francisco exhibiting my company at ODSC AI conference, which is a huge conference. So I'm going to exhibit my product there, solutions there, and just want to get ideas like what people think. Idea is not to sell at the moment, just to see like what other people's doing, take their opinion, take their feedback, learn from it, and so I'll be exhibiting my company in more countries soon. So like including the USA, Middle East, and like wherever the AI is. So basically, trying to spread the word about it, learn from it, take feedback, and grow.
Great. Well, good luck and kudos for you for getting it out there and creating such great content and sharing it with the community that you've built. Shashi, it's been great talking about agentic AI with you today and hearing about all the different ways in which it already is starting to transform businesses. But it really feels like we're at the beginning of that process, and there's so much knowledge sharing, learning, community building that we need to do within the industry to make sure we're all able to make the most of it. And you've helped us to understand how we can do that. So it's been great to have you on the Business of AI podcast today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tim. Thank you so much for having me. It's a really pleasure to talk to you. And hopefully we'll stay in touch, do more business with UKI, and learn from each other.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Shashi.
Thank you. Thank you so much.